Namaskaram everyone, welcome back to the 8th episode of our master level design series, and in this episode we are going to set up the basic building blocks of our military base. In the last two episodes, first we completed the landscape, second we created a procedural building generation algorithm, and in this episode we are going to set up the helicopters, trucks, tents, fences that are required in a basic military base. So if you haven't seen the previous video, I highly recommend you check that out, and all the assets that are used in this series are available for free. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Alright, so we are in the editor now. So this is our landscape. This is what we did in the last episode. Let's delete this square, and this is actually the shooting range. We will modify it a bit later, but let's first prepare the landscape for our military area. First thing I would like to do is flatten out this entire surface. So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to increase my camera speed first to 3, and we want this area. So we will go in the landscape and we will go for ramp, set the width to 45,000 and side fall off to 0. We will add a ramp here and here, and we will add the ramp. Once you do this, you will have a smooth plane. And now here we will first set up the fence. I have provided the link in the description. This is the fence model that we are going to use from CGTrader, made by this crazy Yuan. You can download it for free. Now in this, I want you to download this fence FBX, gate FBX, pillar mid part, spec gloss, metalligraph. All these 4 files. Do not go for Unreal, just download these. Okay, once you have downloaded all these FBX, open a Blender file. Once you have Blender file open, select everything and delete it by pressing A and then X. Okay, now I want you to import those files. So what you can do is select all these 4 FBX and drag them inside the Blender. Once you do that, you will see you have 4 meshes with you. Now if you switch to material mode, you will see there is no material being applied. So for this, what we have to do is go in the shading tab. Now in the shading tab, I want you to select this fence mesh, select this principal BSDF that will appear, Control Shift T, and you can go for metallic roughness or spec gloss. I would prefer metallic roughness. So let's go for these textures. I'll open this up, and since it's a fence, I will select all the materials, textures from the fence except the OpenGL normal map, because we are going to use Unreal that uses DirectX. So we will not use the OpenGL normal map. So let's select this and you will see the texture is applied. Now select this gate IP, select this principal BSDF, Control Shift T, and again in the metallic roughness, you will locate all the textures of gate except the OpenGL normal map and the height map. Apply it and you see the gate is also textured. Now go for this pillar corner LP, select the BSDF and then go for pillar corner except the normal GL map. Apply the texture. Okay. Then select the pillar straight, select the principal BSDF, Control Shift T, select all the textures except OpenGL. And boom, here you go. This is your fence kit. Okay, now let's undo and go to modeling. You can go to texture mode, press tab to go in the object mode, select everything, Alt G to make sure everything is in center. Now what I will do, I'll press A, I'll go file, export, FBX. We will create a new file and we'll call it modular fence, or let's just say fence. Select the selected objects because we want to export only these, then only mesh. The geometry should be face smoothing because Unreal takes that. No leaf bones, no animation. Okay, once you are done, you can export the FBX. In case after importing you do not find your textures inside Unreal, then you can go for copy and click on this. This will also export textures again, which will create a new copy, but we do not want that because it will work just fine. So we can just undo. But in case if it doesn't work, you can go for copy and click on this. Great. So you will export, you have your fence ready. Let's go to Unreal Engine, level prototyping. Under the meshes, we will create a new folder and we will call it fence. Open it up, import fence, reset the selected pipeline and import. There you go. Now you can select all these four and you can drag them here, press F to go near, and this is your fence. Cool. So let's undo to remove them. Now what I will do, I'll go in my architecture and in this I will create a new folder again and I will call this fence. Inside this I will create a actor class and I'll call this b underscore fence. Open it up and same thing we did in the last episode, we will add two instance static meshes. So instance static meshes ism underscore fence and one more ism, and we will duplicate this again and we will call this ism underscore pole. Compile it and let's create a variable fence pole and we will go for static mesh object reference, create one more fence and then go in the construction script, go for a sequence node, get these two boys out and select these two and get them out. Now set the static mesh. Again, we have discussed this in the last episode, so if you want to know what's going on, just check out the last one. We will get this and duplicate it. And there you go. So you have your meshes prepared and we can expose them in case you have other type of fences or fence with different texture, you can do it. Or basically you can change it. Okay, so I have made them instance editable. Now I'll drag them up. Now the next thing is we will start spawning the meshes. So first thing we will drag this fence here. We will select straight pillar straight LP and in this one we will select fence LP. Save it and now I want you to understand this that from the meshes fence I'll grab this. Now we have to keep adding them in one direction. So this time we are not going to use our building architecture algorithm. Instead, I'll tell you a little simpler way of creating a square shape fence. Okay. So these are plain and straight meshes. So there is no role of deformation. So this technique is also used in the building creation. I'll show you later. I will create a new structure and I'll call this struct underscore fence config. Okay. Open this up. I want the rotation. In which direction do you want to rotate once the first side is complete? Just like we did in the previous episode. I will call this rotator and I'll add another variable that will give us how many fence you want. So count. Okay. And let's drag this on top. So first fence count, then the rotation. Save it, go back to fence, create a variable, fence config, change this to struct fence config and make sure this is set to array. Once you do that, bring it up, go for a for each loop. Now same thing, we have to calculate the spacing so that we can spawn next to this one. So if you are here at 0, 0, we will add this size so that you arrive here and then you can add the fence here. So for this we will calculate the size. What I'll do, I'll get this fence, get its bounding box. This will give you the max and min coordinates. You will subtract them. Once you get this, you will break it and then we will store this. So first let's hit compile and create a variable. Call this fence size. Change this to float and set this here. Now this time we are going to apply a different tactic for the scale. Then we will split this and we have the rotation of each side. So we will promote this to local variable, call it rotation, or I must say side rotation. Okay, and connect it. Now, once you have the side in your hand, you will again, you know how many walls you have to add. So get a for loop. And now we will add the fence. So get the ISM fence, add instance. We will connect it with this. We will split this up, and now we need to know what was the location of the last fence that we added. So what do? We will create a variable again, that is last fence location. Change this to vector just like we did in the procedural building algorithm. We will connect this. This is the location, and the rotation is this side rotation, and the scale, let it be 1. Once you have that, we need to update this last location. So instead of using a direction vector manually, we will construct the forward vector or the direction vector from this rotation. So this is another technique that you can use. So first you will get what was the last fence location, and then you will add the size of that fence so that you get to the next point. But to get it in the right direction, we will get this side rotation. We will get its forward vector, and now we will multiply this by the fence size so that we have the correct direction. We will connect it and connect this here. And just a correction, this is not the first index, this should be the last index. But before this, we also want to know if there are any walls to be produced. So if it is 0, then there is no point. So what we are going to do is we will recombine this. We will promote it to a local variable, and we will say side config. We will delete our side rotation this time. Now here we will get our side config, split it up, fence count. First we will check. So branch, is the count greater than 0? If it is, then go for it. And that count should be -1 because this is indexing. And then we will plug the rotation here. Okay, compile and just duplicate this, connect the rotation here. So compile, go back to level 1. Now here in the B fence, we will add the fence config. Let's say we want 2 walls. First one will have 2 fences. Second will have 3, but in the 90 degrees like this. Okay. Now we also want pole right after the fence. So what we will do, we will go in the fence. We will duplicate this. We will get our pole. Delete this. We need the location, rotation, and scale. So we'll connect this location here as well, and the rotation as well. Compile, go back, and you see you have the poles. Make sure the fence has this fence IP, fence pole has this straight IP pillar. Good. Now you can construct your square or what a rectangle, whatever you want based on your requirement. I'll go for 4 walls. This will have, let's say, 5. This is going in that. We have to reverse the direction. So 180 degrees. Make sure you only go for 0, -90, 90, and 180 because we do not want any other kind of deformation other than the sharp turns. Okay. And then the index 3, let's say there are 2 walls, 90 degrees in negative. And let's increase the count of first to 4. And let's do it 5 so that they are in line. And increase the gap by 5 again. And the 5 again. Okay, so it's a square shape. Now what if we want to make one of the fence disappear because we would want a gate? So what we'll do in fence config, we will add another variable that will take what are the fences that we have to skip. So skip indexes or indices and give it integer type array. This is the logic that you can use in the building generator as well. So go back to fence, and now we have the skip indices. So instead of spawning them right away, we will check that whether we have to skip this or not, because if we have to skip, then we will add the gap, but we will not spawn the meshes. So go back and change this to array, compile, compile, and check find item. And the index that is currently going is this one. So connect this here. If it is equal to -1, that means this index is not supposed to be skipped. So go ahead. So if it is equal to -1, that means it does not exist. So spawn the fence and the pole. Compile, go back to level 1. And now here, let's say I want to skip the first, second, third one. So add an element, I'll say skip the second index, and there you go. Instead, what we can do is just keep this pole. So we will take this further, go for a sequence node, connect this here, compile again. Okay, so you have the poles. Now you can set up security guards or whatever. I'm not going to add the gate because I think it is not up to the proportions, but you can scale it up, which is something we will cover later once we will set up helicopters and everything. Next thing we want is the tents. So I'll save all. Now I provided this link in the description. You can download these tents, and once you click on download, go for tent texture RAR and the tents textures free FPX. Once you have downloaded these two, just go in the level prototyping meshes, create a new folder, call this tents, open this up, import, and go for this tents plus free file that you have downloaded. Click on it, reset the selected pipeline import, and you will see your meshes are here. If you drag them, you will not see any texture being applied because the texture is broken. You will find the PNG file, just open it up, PNG to JPG, and just go for any one website. Upload this texture, download it, save it, and you will have your JPG. Now, once you have your tent JPG, just open with Paint and save it as PNG. Then save this as tent texture as PNG in the folder. This is the file. I'll go to Unreal Engine, click on import, select this tent texture, and you will have it. What you can do is open this material, delete this, and drag this tent texture here, connect this to base color, apply, go to level 1, and you will have your texture. Okay, but now I want you to tell something. If you go, you will not be able to get inside. This is because of the collision boxes. This is something that you must have noticed in your shop, merchant shop that you created using Archimesh. So let's go to that level. Remember this shop? If you try to go inside, you will not be able to go. See? The reason is because if I search for this, right click, browse to asset, this is our static mesh. If I show you the collisions by going in show, simple collision, do you see these box? This is what is blocking you. So when you are exporting it from Blender, make sure you export everything as an individual piece. If you do not do that, then the collision will not be constructed for the interiors. So that is the reason we built that procedural building algorithm so that you can get in. Now, how do we resolve these kind of issues is you have to reconstruct the collision. So one simple hack that people use is you select this and scroll down. In the collision complexity, you change this to use complex collision as simple. Once you do that and you remove the collisions, you see this is how it is constructed. Now if you save and play the game, you will be able to get inside, but this is not optimal. The primary reason is So if you observe, it will consider all the polygons and will keep track of those collisions. So this is not something I would recommend you guys, because complex collision, what it does is it will consider all the triangles or squares that are present in your mesh, and it will calculate the collision for each polygon. So let's say if it has 10,000 polygons, then it will compute the collision for all those 10,000 faces or polygons, which we do not want. So this is something you should avoid, because this will impact the performance really, really bad. So what is the other way around is you change this back to project default, and the project default is configured as simple collision, and you should go for collision, remove the collision first, and then you should add a box collider, and then you should select this, press R to go in scale mode, and you can reduce this to 0.1 and generate the collisions manually. So I guess I'll just disable it. Okay. And whatever is inside this box will be safe. That means it will be considered as a obstacle, but anything that is outside will be a free space. So if I duplicate this again and go over there, make sure your mesh is between these faces. Okay. All right. Now duplicate this again, rotate it. Okay. You can always check if you are doing the box right. Okay, now you can save and play again, and now you will be able to get inside. See? So this is something we will do with our tents. So let's go back to our maps, level 1. We have to construct the collisions for these. Now let me show you. Right click, open this up. Now if I enable the complex collision, and now you just press on show simple collision, complex collision, and set it to project default. Now observe, this is your simple collision, the green one. If I remove it, this is your complex collision. See how many polygons are there, and it will calculate the collision box for each of them. That is not something you want. It will be very expensive if you have more instances of this mesh. Okay, so we never use complex collisions. Instead, we use the simple collision. Now this simple collision is not right and it is blocking you. So we will reconstruct it. So for reconstruction, make sure first of all, this is set to project default, and we will remove this collision and we will construct on our own. So like I told you in the shop, you have to do the same thing here. So I'll speed the process because this is not something I want to record, because this will take a bit time. Make sure you are not covering more than what the mesh size is, okay? Otherwise, this collision box will stop your player. Now you can duplicate this and do that same thing there. So Control D to duplicate. So you can press Control D to duplicate again. That is a downside of using the assets from external or from Blender and all that. Just make sure you are covering both inner and outer part of this plane or the mesh. And keep the box thickness as minimum as possible. Okay, let's do the front. We will duplicate this one. And now you have to cover the windows. Maybe you can fire through the windows. So make sure you create that box separate. So what I'll do, I'll first create the box for bottom part, then the upper part. Do not cover the entire thing in one. Otherwise your bullet will not go through. Okay, so you are done. Let's save all and go back to your mesh. And now you can get inside. You can even shot the bullet through the window. Okay. So this is a sniper elite effect, which we will cover in the coming episodes. So don't worry. Cool. Now you can get in. Let's do this same thing for this one. I'll go for cylinder. Do not keep too much thickness, otherwise it will block you from inside. Okay, so if you look it from inside, it is good. If you look it from outside, it is looking good. Great. Let's add the front and back as well. You can also use perspective to do things precisely. Just have to maintain a bit of a distance. You don't have to be really precise in the area where you can't go, so it's okay. Keep the thickness minimum, like I said. Okay, save all, play the level again. And now you can go in, you can collide with the tent. You can try to jump, but you will not be able to. Okay, great. So these are our tents. Okay, so we will set up this building of ours right here. Put this inside your fence. So what I'll do, I'll go on the fence config. I'll increase this by 10, 10, 10, and 10. Let's see if we can fit this in. Nope. 20, 20. Now we can, I think. And let's increase this by 15, or let's say 12, and this one by 12. There you have your secret thing or restricted area. Tents, I can scale them up by, let's say, 1.25. Make sure this lock is on so that it applies to all three dimensions. Now, since this is a military area, we will not scatter them. We will arrange them in a good order. So first thing, let's make our snappings on, rotation and grid snap as well. This is our first, and let's duplicate this one, put it here. And let's say this must be looking in this direction. We can spawn the same tent behind. Then there is a gap in between, and then we will spawn these tents right here facing that direction. Duplicate again, duplicate, and this time it is looking in the forward direction where there is a path. So minus 180, and let's get one more tent. This is also looking in that direction. Then we can have the same procedure, duplicate this and place them there, but in that direction. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is add a helicopter and a truck. So you can check out this seller call Vigilante, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This seller has shared all the military aircrafts for free, completely for free. You can just click on them and add to your library and it will be there. And there are like 69 to 70 aircrafts, or I mean transports of military. So we will use this Black Hawk helicopter and the M923 truck. So these are even available free for commercial use. So go ahead, and big shout out to our Discord member named RD who shared this seller with us. Okay, so once you have added this truck and this helipad, I want you to open your Epic launcher. The only problem is that all these assets are compatible with 4.27 version. So I had to install this just for these. So what I want you to do is install this 4.27, launch it and select this games. Next, go for third person, do not go for blank. Due to some reason, I don't know, migration was not working. So I'll just go for next and I'll call this army transports or vehicles, and do not give any space. Create the project. Okay, once you have the project, go for the Epic launcher again and search for Hawk. Add to your project. In case it is not downloaded, it will take some time. Once the assets are downloaded, restart the Epic and the project, then add them. Okay, just a heads up. So then we will want truck, add to project. Okay, so now I will close this and I'll go to content folder and you will find your vehicles here. Okay, so I will file save all. Now I will migrate these. So transfer the entire seller content, right click, migrate. Okay, go to your 5.5 project, content folder, select this folder. And now if you switch to your project, you will find the folder, locate the helicopter. Let's go for the blueprints. If I just take you in the right, it's because of the sunlight we are not able to catch this, but do you observe that there is a glass? Okay, so all these are glasses, it's just their material. So I'll click on this glass, open this instance, open this material, and this is the material. What you will do, you will remove this opacity and you will do 0. Let's say 6. If you do that and apply, you will be able to spot the glasses. Okay, and these two are open because some helicopters have this high density seating arrangement. So I think these two are the high density seating areas. So it's like 3, 6, 9 and 12 in total. Okay, so you got the glass and now you can write it up later. And let's get that fence. I'll duplicate this fence object and I'll increase my camera speed a bit. Let's get it. Now what I'll do, I'll reduce the size. So fence count to 8, 10, 8, 10. I think this much area for the helicopter is good enough. I'll rotate it to 180 degrees. All right, so we have our helicopter. Let's get the trucks. I'll save this, and in the truck, let's grab it there. Press F to go near, rotate it. Now what you can do is duplicate this truck, hold W. What we can do is put this here, and I'd like to keep that trucks here, and I can also duplicate them and rotate them by 180 degrees. Okay, so we have our trucks ready, we have our fence and everything. I think let's create 2 more and get the duplicate of these 2. Great. Now what we can do is create 1 more fence, and this will be a little large. So let's go for 50 50, 50, and 50. This is our entire military base. And we can increase the scales of these fences to 3, which has gone little bigger. So I'll go for 30, 30, or I think let's say 40, 35. So let's go for 35 in all directions. Okay. Now we will make entry exits later, but this is our foundation. All right, so you have your trucks, you have your tents, you have your buildings, and it's time to get our AI and NPC into the picture. So I hope you like the video. Do share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any feedback, suggestion, comments, feel free to post them, and do not forget to join the Discord server to collect all the free assets. And I'll see you in the next episode of Master Unreal series, where we will get our first AI character in the picture, and I'll show you how you can use AI behavior and state trees to define the patterns. And it's okay, do not worry about these landscape and all, but first we need to get some soldiers in this area so that it looks like a base. So we will add more stuff, we will optimize these meshes into actors, PCGs, and etc. So we'll go step by step. So take care, and if you like my work and you want to support me, the Patreon link is in description. Please have a word with me on Discord before buying any membership. So I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, take care. Bye bye.